Hi, I'm Brittney Ashley, your host of Breaking Norms, Building Dreams, your guide through this transformative journey in both business and life. This is your place crafted for dreamers, doers, or anyone who has been told they can't. Get ready as we challenge those narratives together. You're tuning in live to the United Public Radio Network, airing on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are streaming on all the popular platforms every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me for a candid and thought-provoking conversation celebrating your unique journey because you are worth it. Hello, everyone. It's been some time since I've been on here. We're actually pre-recording today. It's not live. Welcome to Breaking Norms, Building Dreams. I'm your host, Brittney Ashley, and we're broadcasting on Friday, just because we know it's the long weekend, on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. Get ready to escape the next hour as we break norms, build dreams with Lilian. Thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Brittney. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm so excited to dig in with you. I know you and I have kind of connected, really, it feels like a long time ago, but during COVID, we kind of stumbled across paths and we connected that way on something that I kind of started on the sidelines, which the Facebook group. And then I've kind of rerouted another way because it's a lot of work to run a Facebook group. But I'll just do a quick introduction for all our listeners who Lilian is. Lilian is a PR coach and publicist. Lilian is in the storytelling and relationship building business. She empowers entrepreneurs to learn how to gain the confidence to make public relations work for them, to achieve their goals by giving them personalized guidance and support, to gain the confidence to push past limiting beliefs, mindset blocks, to develop and launch successful PR campaigns. Can I just say how important that is in a nutshell for small business owners, medium-sized business owners, big businesses? Because I have my background in business and we did public relations and all these things, but I find sometimes we forget that that's also really important for us to kind of educate a little bit more than we sometimes do. So I'm excited to dig in deep with you today, Lilian, but maybe you can kind of tell a bit more to the listeners of who you are.
Well, thanks for the fantastic intro, first off. But as you said, I'm in the storytelling and relationship building business in PR. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I decided to start my business, first as a publicist and then as a PR coach, is because I noticed a lot of entrepreneurs who were really struggling, not just with trying to figure out what they wanted to share with their audiences, but also the idea of building relationships in order to get in front of their dream clients. So I'll dig into that a little bit. One of the major patterns I kept seeing with my clients who were coming to me for publicity was a lot of limiting beliefs and mindset blocks surrounding getting out there, sharing their stories, who they were, how they could effectively build relationships, because the prevailing opinion was, it feels like I'm trying to sell to strangers. Mm-hmm. So I started as a PR coach because I kept seeing patterns of these beliefs, of the fear, the anxiety, the imposter syndrome that was really holding back my clients and just entrepreneurs in my audience in general from really fulfilling their fullest potentials to achieve their goals, because they felt like my product, my project, my service can speak for me. People don't need to know more about me. Mm-hmm. And what I've spent the last 4.5 years really trying to educate and empower entrepreneurs on is, hey, actually, if you want people to support you, buy from you, recommend you, share your content, they only do that if they can learn how to trust you. Mm-hmm. And that comes not from you talking about your products or how much you charge or even what the features are, because there's thousands of people that do what you do. So what you do is almost immaterial. Let's unlock the superpower within your story of why you do what you do, how you do it, and the reason why you're passionate about helping the people you want to help through
Mm-hmm.
your business. Because that's what's going to tell your audience, wow, this person knows what I'm going through.
Mm-hmm.
I can trust them because they've been there and they know how to help me because they've been there.
Mm-hmm.
So, what I do with my clients is I work with them to really understand where that fear, that anxiety is coming from. Where is the root cause of that coming from? How can we learn how to push past that and really unlock the superpower within your story, which is your own lived experiences
Mm-hmm.
as an entrepreneur and the time and the energy you've spent building that expertise?
Mm-hmm.
Because so many entrepreneurs, particularly women in business, spend a lot of time downplaying
Mm-hmm.
what they've spent so many years building because they look at it and they think, oh, I don't have a degree in this. I don't have 20, 30, 40 years of experience in this. Therefore, no one needs to hear from me on what I went through. When in reality, what audiences, clients, customers are craving right now
Mm-hmm.
is trust, authenticity, honesty, transparency, and being able to build that genuine connection with
Mm-hmm.
someone that they're choosing to work with, whether you are a coach, whether you are someone selling a product, or even as an author who is looking to gain more readers.
Mm-hmm.
People want that genuine human connection and to feel good
Mm-hmm.
knowing that this is where their support, their engagement, and ultimately their money is going towards supporting you because they know they can trust you and that you can help them.
Mm-hmm. Yes, love that. And I find like maybe you can touch on this a little bit too, but I find we kind of, one, we have put a lot of pressure on ourselves, but two, with social media in the forefront always of what we should be like, what we should do, what we shouldn't, even maybe our upbringing. I think sometimes that hinders us for where we really want to go. I feel like since I started the radio show, I feel like I've been saying this in the past shows, but I find this is as my like, my self-healing journey and starting talking a little bit about who I am, which I usually don't like to because I like to be kind of like that shy person and behind the scenes. Once you get to know me, like, you know that like I'm a friend for life or mama bear, like whichever you want to put me as. But like I feel like now that I'm doing the show, I'm learning to kind of shed light on certain scenarios that I never even thought that I would even want to talk about, but I'm also very passionate about. But that's what I want people to know me, who I am as, and as the business as a whole. So I feel that sometimes when we're trying to like or show up as authentically as we want to, sometimes we need to take a step back and kind of reflect too of who we are.
Absolutely, because certainly I've been there as well myself. I've spoken at length, very candidly, in other podcast interviews about my own background with having to push past cultural barriers, generational trauma, and a lack of support at home to really learn how to build my business while also managing a chronic illness, which led me to do my own mindset work. So I've talked at length about that sort of thing. And I think it can be really scary for a lot of entrepreneurs out there to speak more candidly about that because they're about judgment, they're worried about rejection, and
Mhm.
they're worried about curating a certain image for
Yes.
their brands online in order for people to follow them, to engage with them, and to buy into what they're saying. But what I always say to my clients and to my audience is that as entrepreneurs, it's very understandable that you fear people's responses. that you fear wasting your time and energy on something that's not going to pan out for you. But I look at it this way and I tell them, try switching your perspective, and with the understanding that what you do and how you do it is not going to be for everyone.
Yep.
You're not meant to appeal to everyone. So the people that are truly ready to hear what you have to say and the people that resonate with your content, those are your people. Everyone else is just white noise. So you don't want to be spending that time and energy trying to appeal to those people that are never going to listen to you anyway, that aren't ready to hear what you have to say. So it's really about gaining the confidence to be vulnerable, but at the same time, recognizing that while you can't control other people's responses, what you can control is the line between what is personal versus what is private. Because when we're talking about being vulnerable as entrepreneurs and sharing your journeys, like I talk a lot about sharing your milestones and also sharing what I call your crossroads moments, those pivotal moments within your entrepreneurial journey where you had to make a decision to go one way or the other. And what was the aftermath of you making that one decision? What did you learn from it? How did you overcome those challenges? These are stories that your audiences really want to hear, but you are in control of how much you share, where you share it, when you share it, and the parts you choose not to share as well. Because when we talk about getting personal, we're not talking about sharing your whole life story. They want to know certain points in your entrepreneurship journey and how that's influenced you and impacted you to do things differently.
Yes, I love that, because I feel that sometimes we might the fine line of what's can we share that's personal, that's too much, and then not what's enough. Do you have any kind of tips for anyone listening on that? Maybe a few takeaways, just if they're maybe just starting out within business or they've been doing business for some time and they're not sure how to kind of find that fine line.
There are a few key questions that you can kind of use to sort of build a framework for this, because these are the common questions that when you are doing an interview or a presentation or even in conversation with someone at a networking event, these are the things people want to know. So things like, what inspired you to get started? What was the catalyst? Was there a person, an event, a situation, an experience that showed you, hey, this is a good idea that I should bring forth and build a business around? When it comes to things like milestones, how did you feel after your first sale? How did you feel after your first interview, your first presentation? Maybe you're fundraising for a particular cause. How did it feel when you hit that goal? Right? Celebrating those milestones, acknowledging, as I said, your crossroads moments and the challenges you went through. They're going to want to know, what was a point in your business where you came across a certain challenge, whether it's financial, whether it's personal, whether it's personnel or technology related, whatever happened. How did you overcome it? What did you learn from it? Or did you change directions? And what came out? What was the result of you making that pivotal decision? These are the sorts of questions that can really form a really, really strong story for you to get out there and to share with people. And on top of that, that's unlocking your superpower, because your superpower is within your own lived experiences, and unlocking that superpower when you're doing the interviews, the events, speaking gigs, even just doing networking, that is celebrating that superpower and using that superpower within your lived experiences to build genuine connections with your audience and powerful relationships with the media, who are there because they want to hear stories like yours. They want to support stories like yours, and they want to know basically, like with what you're doing now and what you want to do for the future and the goals you have for the future, how did
Mhm.
that all start? Because everybody has a genesis moment, right? So
Mhm.
those are some of the questions that you can start thinking about to really sort of build the framework surrounding these are the parts of my story that I want to share.
Yeah, I love that. I find too, like, well, maybe I said it in the past show or just briefed it, but like, there's a lot of us do struggle with childhood trauma. I don't remember my childhood. It's just kind of like, I remember snippets, but just trying to like dig back into it. I'm like, do I really want to remember that? Meh. On to the next. But with that, like, with the show, the whole thing, what I'm trying to do as well is challenge myself to talk a little bit more, because the thing that I want to do is talk a little bit more about dyslexia and ADHD and how I overcome those struggles. Because really, I didn't really learn how to read and write fully until grade 12. Like, it was a struggle. Even today, like, that's why if you watch some of the past shows, I do stumble a little bit on some of the words. And then it's like it's just like a flashback to grade 12, when they all like, everyone take a reading section in the book, like horrified moment. And you'd practice and just, yeah, all the things. But the biggest thing for me, what I'm trying to step into as a business owner and to be more authentic, is just talking a bit more about the struggles of my dyslexia and ADHD and just why I think differently. Like, I'm such a visionary person. So if you come to me and say something, I'm like, I can see it. It's not like I can see the future, but I just can like picture it. And I'm like, with you. So digging into those areas, what you're just saying, Lilian, I love that, because I find too, start to unravel a little bit more of the onion of who we really are as a brand too, and then it just makes it more organically authentic to you, what you're building.
Absolutely, because people at the end of the day connect with people. It's not the corporate logo, it's not your brand colors, it's not, they really, I mean, those things inform a lot of the visual part of it, but need to be backed up by the story as
Mm-hmm.
well. And just focusing on what you do and what the features are and what the pricing is really does not tell people what can I expect from working with you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like the results are great, but how are you going to work with me to get there? It doesn't tell them that. And I understand my clients' reluctance to get out there and share more of that because for years I was exactly like them.
Mm-hmm.
I had the reviews, I had the testimonials, and I thought, hey, you know what? That should be good enough.
Mm-hmm.
It can speak for me. And then I thought, you know what? That really tells people nothing about who I am
Mm-hmm.
and importance of things like mindset
Mm-hmm.
and how it can influence your actions and whether or not you build a strategy and everything. If I wanted my clients to walk the walk, I couldn't just talk the talk. I needed to know how to walk the walk myself. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why I started doing a lot more of my own mindset work to really gain the confidence to get out there and talk about how my background, my culture, and my upbringing, physical limitations, all of that kind of thing really influenced, even subconsciously, how I ran my business for over a decade before I had that epiphany and said, oh, this is why.
Mm-hmm.
This is the root of my anxiety. This is the root of my chronic illness flare ups. This is the root of why I'm losing sleep. And once I learned how to let go of that,
Mm-hmm.
that freedom remains the biggest epiphany I've ever had
Mm-hmm.
in my business life and in my personal life on how to embrace joy, how to hold myself accountable and yet still feel satisfied and accomplished on a daily basis because I'm moving forward for the first time in a long time the way I want to.
Mhm.
And if I hadn't done that work for myself, first and foremost, I wouldn't then be able to like help my clients get there as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm. I would say like having my own business has made me a stronger person. I feel like within in the 9 to 5, don't get me wrong, anyone who's listening who's in a 9 to 5, I felt like I was constrained and I couldn't really tap in and be like a true person to who I wanted to be. And I felt like there was just always that pushback. And so being more an entrepreneur, I feel like it's like a free life of like I can jump in and do whatever I want and no one can tell me otherwise. And it's also too like learning how to find that voice on how I want to show up authentically too. I know you talked a little bit there about chronic illness. Is there anything that you want to share with the listeners of kind of how what showed up to, like was that the biggest shift in your business? Like did it show up before or was it kind of present during COVID? How did that kind of happen?
I honestly had lived with it. I first got diagnosed about 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it took maybe about 6 months to a year initially, where they were trying to figure out whether it was tied into other physical ailments that I had,
Mhm.
and it turned out they were sort of connected, but also all three of them were separate issues.
Oh,
And it
wow.
took a long time for me to recognize that, oh, it's not just my day-to-day life, like what I eat, that's driving this. Anxiety is a really big factor too, because I wake up from a sound sleep. Anxiety would make it so I couldn't go back to sleep, and then the pain would start. And
Oh,
once the pain flared up, I probably lost about 4 or 5 hours of sleep just trying to get it to
yeah.
die down and go away. And there were attacks that were and flare ups that were bad enough that I had to go to the hospital, that I still remember huddling in a fetal position on my living room floor, just trying to get, because it was really bad
Oh,
heartburn is what it presented as. So just
oh,
trying to get it to go away, to go down. And as I invested in alternative forms of medicine with my working with my naturopath, that helped to calm down the flare-ups and make it so they were less frequent.
mhm.
But I it took so long for me to figure out that, oh, it's the anxiety that's driving it. And the reason why I have anxiety that's waking me up in the middle of the night is because I want to have an iron grip control on all aspects of my business.
Mhm.
At the time, I was really losing sleep over the fact that I didn't feel like I was getting the responses I was looking for, or
Yeah.
the lack of engagement and everything. And then I sat back and I had to go, I was burnt out too. I wasn't happy with the way I was doing things myself, and I thought there has to be a better way. There
Mhm.
has to be a better way for me to run my business the way I want to. And when I invested in mindset work and started working with my coach, she sat me down and point blank asked me, she said, "Where do you think this desire for control comes from?"
Mm.
So I thought about it and I thought, oh, that light bulb went off and I went, oh, I understand it now. I
Mhm.
have this desire to have an iron grip control on everything in relation to my business and my life, because growing up, I didn't have control. I
Mm.
was being controlled, I was being dictated to, and I was not being supported or given a safe space emotionally and mentally the way I needed to in order to grow.
Mhm.
And once I realized that, it allowed me to not only let go of that iron grip control that I had on my business,
Mhm.
Brittany, I was able to forgive myself
Mhm.
for what I wasn't able to do as a child in order to I protected myself to the best of my ability, and I survived
Yeah.
using the tools that I had at that
Mhm.
time. And I was able to forgive myself. And once I was able to do that, that burden lifted, and the freedom that I found in running my business the way I wanted to, and to not put pressure on myself the way I used to, was the most freeing thing I'd ever experienced. And that is something that I coach my clients on a daily basis, because it's really about being willing to learn, being open to change, being open to growth, and being open to understanding that on a daily basis, if you do what you can to the best of your ability, then
Mhm.
that's all you can do.
Mhm.
And that's enough. It is
Mhm.
enough that every single day you move a little bit closer to where it is that you want to be, and that is worth being celebrated. And that's what I coach my clients to do using PR as well, because building that campaign
Yeah.
and developing that strategy is not an overnight success. It's not
Mhm.
something that will take you 5 minutes. It's about developing that strategy that's going to not only help you prioritize your energy
Mhm.
and be sustainable and consistent for you in ways that work for your business and your life, but it's also about building those powerful, long lasting relationships with the media,
Mhm.
so that, hey, you have a larger community.
Mhm.
Now you're not selling to strangers, you're sharing your story with your community. And this is a community that you can always go back to
Mhm.
every time you have something new to share. And because these people are part of your community, even if they don't have room or time to review your product or to interview you, they can then recommend you for other opportunities. And that's how you continue growing and expanding.
Yes.
So it's really about, what am I looking to do for the long haul, right?
Mhm.
That time is going to pass anyway.
Mhm.
So if what you're doing currently is not helping you move the needle to reach your goals, how about sitting down and thinking about getting introspective and actually sharing your story with
Mhm.
the people that you want to trust you, in order to continue expanding and building on your community and growing your business in ways that feels good to you,
Mhm.
instead of what some industry expert on social media is telling you that you should do.
Mhm.
I'm
Yeah.
I'm a huge proponent on utilizing PR and marketing in a tailored, customized, individual way to
Mhm.
really and truly make it work for you. So if you only have time and energy to show up 3 times a week, use those 3 times a week. You know, feel good about it, have fun with it, and don't feel pressured to be on multiple times a day just because some industry expert says you need to.
It's all about boundaries. I find like you have to really figure out what you want to do for yourself and your what's interconnected to you, because you might say hire a coach or go hire somebody that does your marketing and so forth, and they're just telling you to do all these things on I don't know, like I'm just going to use social media because that came top of mind. But let's post 6 times a day and you're going to get all these followers. Do you want 10,000 followers? This is what you need to do. And the thing is, it's all about where do you want to show up organically and authentically as a person. So for me, I personally like Instagram. I don't know why. I think I just slowly interconnected with it when it first started rolling out. And so that's why I'm more connected there, but I want to be more on LinkedIn. So what am I trying to do to change that mindset a little bit, but also have boundaries for myself? Because as some of the listeners might know, I do have 2 little ones. I'm building a business. I run a team of 10 other women. And so I have my limitations. And so putting boundaries in certain places and knowing what I can live up to expectations are is very important.
Absolutely. And it's really, that's why I always say to my clients is the framework for a PR campaign will always be the same in the sense that you have to know what parts of your story you want to share. We have to know who you want to get in front of to share that story based on what your goals are and where your audience is spending their time. And then we have to have that story straight as well as the audio visual assets in your media kit ready to go. But that's the framework. What that looks like for each and every entrepreneur out there is different, right? Everyone's going to have differences in their bios. They're going to have different images, different videos. They're going to have different audiences and media outlets that they want to build relationships with in order to get in front of those audiences to build trust and credibility. So for me, it's really about understanding why the framework is the way it is, and then learning how to tailor it to your business and to your goals. It's not about any coach or strategist or agency that you work with that says you have to do it this way. I would recommend rethinking investing with them because they're not looking to tailor those strategies to you. They want to offer you a blanket solution that works for other people. Well, guess what? Other entrepreneurs are not you. They don't have your story or your journey. So it's really important to look at what those elements of marketing are, whether it's social media, whether it's email, whether it's online advertising, PR, whatever it is that you're looking at, and being willing and confident enough to advocate for yourself and your goals with the agency or the publicist or the strategist that you're working with and saying to them, hey, I'd like to take it in this direction. So much of what I do as a coach when it comes to education and empowerment is really getting entrepreneurs to that point where they have that confidence
Yeah, I love
to
that.
advocate for what they want to do because ultimately all of this, every aspect of marketing is a done with you process, not a done for you process in order to be successful.
Yep.
We, as your service providers and your coaches, need your input in order to tailor things specifically for you in order to help you find that success. And the
Yes.
other part of that is also recognizing when you may need to change directions. Get creative on changing the methods of where you want to go. Like, say, doing interviews with certain platforms aren't working. Okay, well, let's see if we can incorporate the interview opportunity with something else, a distribution opportunity, a live panel event, something that's going to get more attention and more promotion from all parties involved in addition to your own audience as well.
I love to work with clients that are wanting to really learn about the business other than just like the complete handoff. Like I love to educate our clients on this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it. Does this land for you? If not, how else can we pivot to make sure that makes sense for you? Or like because I wear many hats. So as an online business manager, I come in and I just really educate clients. This is why we need an SOP. This is why we want to do X, Y, and Z. And if this doesn't work, we can find other solutions. But just really try to educate and really make sure that they feel comfortable with what we're using, any kind of system or anything like that. And then that's also where the coaching side comes in too. Because really in coaching, I'm not educating, really. It's really about empowering them to step into the forefront within their business and start thinking of those curious questions that I might throw at them of, oh yeah, That's a good question. Let me think on that one for a little bit. Like, and then the biggest thing that I've been trying to work with clients on is, what is your mission and why are you passionate for building this business? That should be the forefront. So when you're doing any kind of pitches, for me, for example, I started the business to help moms work from home, and it's still my passion. And that's why I started the business. And so that's always like kind of my opening line now, because I know that that's will resonate a lot with my target audience as well. Those are the people that seem to work in alignment with us, because they understand that we need that flexibility too.
To your point about the flexibility, I think it's really important
Mm.
to understand, like, okay, yes, these are your goals, but if one method of reaching those goals is not panning out for you, what do we need to do differently? What do we need to change? How do we need to build relationships with other organizations, with partners, with I'm a huge proponent of entrepreneurs building relationships with nonprofits, with associations, with organizations to do things like have events,
Mm-hmm.
live panels, Q&As, do fundraising. Because if you have those relationships, that makes your own story so much richer
Mm-hmm.
for a reporter, a writer, a journalist, a podcaster to be like, yeah, I really want to cover that, because that brings also your mission and your passion to the forefront, and it shows them and the audiences you want to get in front of that you are taking actual action to
Mm-hmm.
get to that goal.
Yes.
And you are marking the milestones that you're reaching along the way and talking about the impact that you've made and the impact you want to continue to make, because everyone wants to know more about who you are, why you do what you do, but that it's not about selling, it's not about money, it's about that impact, it's about the relationships that you build, and it's about how you can essentially do what you do but make a positive impact on the community. What are you doing for the greater good?
Mm-hmm.
These are the stories and that people really want to learn more about. And this is a great way to build trust with your dream audiences, your clients, your customers, because you're showing them through your actions, not just the things that you say, that this is how you help. This is
Yeah.
how you solve problems, and this is how you show up and add value
Mm-hmm.
for your local community and your audiences on a daily basis.
And also too, just to touch on that, is just to kind of think if you're wanting to expand and have a team members, and that's a lot of team members. I don't like saying millennials, Gen X, whichever, the next generation, whichever that will be. uh, they want to see that kind of impact, or what kind of business owner you are showing up as that social change. And so like we always give back to the community in different ways, because I volunteer um, on a board for marketing communication. I give out my hours to assist with marketing and all that. And then I come on the other side of it, giving back to mental health on Vancouver Island, or like I'm always kind of in the ebbs and flows of giving back in different ways. But the biggest thing that I like to do too is ask my team or my clients on who should we give back this year to. So we do quarterly give backs if we can do that. I always try to push for, but depending on the economy, unfortunately, it's a little rough this year. um, but yeah, no, I feel that any kind of business owner listening today, it's really important to think of those social economic changes that you can make, as that is an alignment to you too. I have so much passion on just giving back to the community as a whole. Just making those little changes. I love just to see those little changes, or that like light up when you give that donation to that non-for-profit, because they really needed that support right there. It just lights me up as a not just a business owner, but as a person.
Yeah, and to your point on that, it's one of the reasons why I just released my debut nonfiction PR book, The Powerful Holistic
Yes.
Prescription, this week. And reviews are starting to roll in and everything, and I actually have a couple different mandates with the book.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, for everyone that purchases more than one copy, I plan to donate a copy to a nonprofit in need on their behalf, because I know that so many nonprofits can't afford to work with the PR agencies or to have someone in-house to do that for them. So I'm giving them this book as a resource to help them learn how to build their own campaigns. And then
Mhm.
the other part of it that I'm planning on doing once I get my in-person events rolling as
Mhm.
part of book signings and doing presentations and that, is to also earmark a certain portion of the proceeds to be donated to the ALS Society of BC,
Mhm.
because my favorite aunt, actually, we lost her just over 6 years ago now to it. Um, I miss her dearly, and this is my way
Right.
of hoping and trying to help out other families, that I hope that they never have to go through what my family's gone through.
Mhm. I maybe do you have your book right there? It was on my it's on my mind. I was like looking at the time. I'm like, I want to give Lilian her time to shine about the book. It was actually was going to be my next leadways into the book.
Yeah.
Do you have the book there? Because I don't know if I have the link here to share with everybody.
Well, you can kind of, I don't know how well, this is an early copy of it, an author copy. So everyone who wants to get a copy can contact me, and I can give them the links. The ebooks are available on a wide variety of retailers, and I have print copies available directly from me. I wrote this book as a resource for entrepreneurs to be able to flip through and refer back to, and it basically demystifies the entire world of PR. So I cover everything from the history of public relations to why mindset is so influential and the things that can trigger different limiting beliefs. I offer accessible tips and mantras on how to push past things like fear, frustration, impatience. And I also dive into every aspect of a PR campaign, such as a media kit, developing story pitches, how to create a great media list
Mhm.
using examples from my own client portfolio, and highlighting tools that I use on a daily basis to help my clients
Amazing.
save time, save energy, save money on developing a campaign. And I also dive into some tips on how to reach out to different types of platforms, from magazines to podcasts.
Oh,
And
amazing.
I talk a lot about interviews and how to keep the conversation flowing, how to answer difficult questions, all of this kind of thing. And I ended off by saying, okay, now that you have launched your campaign and you have a media opportunity such as an interview go live, let's talk a little bit about how we're going to promote it properly to keep
Mhm.
your projects and your mission top of mind.
Mm.
So this is a first edition. I'm actually even thinking about doing a second
Oh,
in
amazing.
the future. But this one really is a fantastic resource that will help you develop an understanding of what PR is, how to make it work for you, and really customize a strategy to help you reach your goals.
I love that. I'm so excited to get your book. It feels like it's been like 100 years since I've done anything PR related reading. So nice refresher. But that's like I mentioned earlier that when you're starting a business, I find that everyone's just a little bit more hyper focused in a way with the marketing or sales, but they don't think PR, public relations, and how it can help them as a business as a whole. Because I think there's just a little bit of that negative notation of when you think of public relations, it's more or less of, do I have a PR representative to come in and represent my business if something goes south? And not
Mhm.
like sometimes the positive light that we're talking about today. Um, so I'm so excited for your book. Congratulations.
Thanks, Brittany. I appreciate that. I will definitely send you all the links for the book
Okay.
as well, so you can take a look. And I just wanted to end off by saying if any entrepreneur listening to this or watching this is thinking about getting started with PR, I'd recommend one of the first things you do is to just sit down and allow yourself to do some free form brainstorming
Mm,
on what your story is, how you got started, and a little bit about what your goals are as well. Where do you want to take your business? Who do you want to build relationships with?
mm,
Because when the earlier you start brainstorming, the easier it's going to be for you to build that strategy that's going to get you in front of the people you want to be in front of.
mm. Love that. And I feel like once we kind of quiet the noise of imposter syndrome, limiting beliefs, where you're kind of going to step more into the forefront of like, I can't even describe it. Like once I let go of those kind of negative notations, it's just kind of like a flurry of positivity. Because unfortunately, when you're surrounding yourself with all those negative thoughts and all these, what if this would happen, or what if they judge me, or all these things, it unfortunately it seems like a flourish of negative energy coming at you. So how do we switch that into positive energy that we can kind of take to the next chapter or the current chapter? um, for myself, like imposter syndrome is always in the forefront. As also as an imposter syndrome coach myself, I just find I'm starting to learn as I do more research about it. A lot of the triggers are from childhood trauma. And it's all interconnected with my learning disability. So just trying to like let that go and all of these. I think everyone's maybe heard of the let them kind of theory. That's kind of more in the last few months that been kind of rolling out. Like let them judge you, let them come into your life and let them leave. And it's all that
Mhm.
notation of attract the people that you want in, and the other is just let them go. And I love that kind of like that reminder of that saying.
I think that on a daily basis, whether we consciously seek it out or not, there's always going to be opportunities where people are showing you where they're at
Mm-hmm.
in their lives, in their businesses. And I think it's important for us as entrepreneurs, as you mentioned earlier, to restate what our boundaries are, to
Mm-hmm.
protect our peace of mind, to prioritize our energy, to prioritize our time,
Yeah.
and to understand ultimately that you are not in business to please everyone and you are not in business to work with everyone. If there is a misalignment, let them go because it just does not serve your time, your energy, and ultimately your passion.
100%. And I'm a working perfectionist slash people pleaser slash all the things above. And so like that in itself for me, like been in business now for almost 5 years, and it's taken me this long to kind of more or less put that mindset in place. It's taken a lot of time and I'm still working on it. I'm not perfect by any means. Like I got invited to a networking thing, and there just seemed like there was some of the people there were not in alignment to what I was doing. But the perfect person slash people pleaser in me, I was like, oh well, why don't they like me? Or why am I getting this vibe? And then I start spiraling, and I was like, nope, you know what? Not worth your energy, not worth my time. I want to put boundaries here because I want to be with the people in a room that will lift me up, then bring me down. And so it's just like those little kind of mind switches to have.
And it's important too to give yourself the time and space to step back from that
Mm,
situation, feel what you need to feel, and recognize that, hey, I'm feeling this way, but I have the tools and the resources to push past that and to keep going and to not let it be a never ending indictment of my character or my entrepreneurship
mm,
journey. And understanding that, even when you're building partnerships or forging relationships in the business world or in personally, it's not the energy that you have, the methodology that you have, the journey that you've been on is not going to be for everyone.
mm,
So it's really about recognizing that, it's about vetting those types of opportunities and understanding that your people are out there.
mm-hmm. Yes. And it sometimes it can take time, or just start asking more curious questions. I feel like when I'm more in Facebook groups, I'm like, I make general posts and just see who interconnects and have like those coffee chats. And then just like slowly, I've been starting to find, I feel like, my online community, and then I have my in-person community, because I think it's so important when you're in an online kind of setting to have both.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we're pretty much almost at time. Is there any last minute thoughts? Anything else you want to share about the book?
I will just say that if you do contact me about the book, please stay tuned because I do have some exciting things coming up with it, including an exclusive invite only online launch event that I'll be doing at the end of July. So
Exciting.
please watch for that.
Exciting. Yes. And send me any additional links and I'll put them within the channel for everybody, anyone listening, so you can connect with Lilian and get that book too, because I feel like all businesses need it. So Lilian, thank you so much for coming on today. Thank you for everyone tuning in to the show, and a big thank you to United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network. Next week, we actually have Kendall coming back into the show, and we're talking about ADHD with, not next week, sorry, July 8th, because we're pre-recording, sorry, everyone. Just on autopilot sometimes. On July 8th, we have Kendall coming on the show, and we are talking about ADHD for adults, and we'll dive deeper in that and kind of using me a little bit more as a guinea pig, I think it sounds like Kendall wants to. So please come in to that show. So with that, until next week, remember, your journey is unique and your worth is unquestionable. Thank you, everybody.